Good day, I'm Martin Gagel with Market Radius Research. It's Friday, February the 4th, and today we've got CEO Ash Guglani of Nexe Innovations. Nexe is a developer of advanced plant-based materials for compostable packaging solutions, having initially developed a fully compostable plant-based coffee pod. I'm interested in Nexe as Nexe's compostable coffee pods are an obviously needed solution in a world going through literally tens of billions of plastic coffee pods annually. And if there's a compostable solution, that just seems like it's going to be a very popular and attractive offering. The company has a strong balance sheet and has invested millions of dollars in developing the technology. There's a huge need for this, for what Nexe does, and I'm curious to better understand their technology and strategy to gain market share. But please remember, this is neither a recommendation nor investment advice. We're here to learn about the company, do your due diligence, and come to your own investment conclusions. Ash, thanks you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, Martin. Actually, you started off with a great debate. A lot of people pronounce it Nexe, but it was when we first did the rebrand, it was supposed to be Nexe. But no, Nexe is the way we say it, but I'm happy with people saying it Nexe. Yeah, your usual forward-looking statements. So what is Nexe Innovations? We use advanced manufacturing technologies to create compostable innovations to replace single-use plastic. Global plastic crisis, I mean, everybody knows about this. It's becoming headline news every day. It hasn't really stopped. More than 365 million tons of plastic is produced year over year. 79% of that is ending up in the environment, land and oceans. And some of this stuff could take anywhere from 500 to 10,000 years to break down. Look, I mean, recycling's been an alternative. Recycling doesn't work. You can see that by the number there. Less than 9% of recycled products are recycled. That's because it requires a lot of human interaction to actually recycle. Like if you ever try to recycle a K-cup, you got to rip the lid off, throw that in the garbage, take the grounds out, throw that in the compost, take out the filter, wash that out, and then throw the actual shell of the K-cup into the recycling bin, and there's no guarantee that it's actually going to be recycled. Next slide. As I just mentioned, there's a lot of recent anti-plastic developments. We've seen Keurig Canada got fined $3 million for misleading claims over coffee pod recycling. Over 77 countries around the world have taken some sort of ban on plastics, according to a UN report. And major US cities have also mandated composting legislation, even in Vancouver here. You're seeing they're really going after waste. I mean, your Starbucks coffee now, if you got a tall pike, it's going to cost you 25 cents more just for the cup itself. So I think we're in a great position, especially if our pods are selling for 99 cents. I think we're in a great position to really take advantage of, or not take advantage, but be that disruptive technology that the global that the world is really asking for. Next slide. Again, this is just kind of a timeline on some of these global plastic bans and how they've created opportunities for innovation. There's also been kind of the timeline as to how the business has grown through equity financings, as well as government or non-dilutive government funding. And where we're at right now is really focused on commercialized now. Scale and sales is probably the best thing to do it, which we'll get into a little bit more down the road. Next slide, Martin. Single serve coffee pod market. Look, this isn't slowing down. More than 60, or probably by now, more than 60 billion pods are consumed every year. I think the pandemic really helped companies like Nespresso and Keurig put out record numbers as well. Everybody was at home drinking coffee, but the bigger thing is I think a lot of people's habits have changed. I think I could tell you for myself, I don't go to coffee shops as much as I was at one point, getting a grande pike or anything like that. I'm actually drinking coffee more at home, and I believe more people are doing that as well. So habits are changing, so that compounded growth rate is probably even higher by now. So, problem is, why hasn't there been a smart compostable coffee pod that has emerged as a category killer? Challenging engineering, we know all about that. We've been doing this for 6 years. A lot of our pods, it really took time to make sure that we were able to develop a recipe and get a pod that doesn't break down or start melting in a machine because of the high heat and water pressure environment that a K-cup or a Keurig or a Nespresso machine creates for these single serve pods. Compromised taste. Look, there's a couple other compostable pods out there, but you know what? In reality, because of their technology and how much volume they're able to get into this capsule, they don't taste very good. And the way I say it is, it tastes like a little bit of mud water. So, I think that's why, we are getting the attention, and I think we'll keep getting the attention from some large artisanal roasters. And toxicity, many products that appear compostable still produce microplastics. We don't have that issue.
And like I visited your facility a couple of years ago out in Richmond, I believe, and it like it's a pretty, like, you think, oh, compostable coffee pot, it's kind of, oh, whatever, you just fill it, you like make it out of paper, but it's got to go through a high-speed filling system with putting a lid on the top of it, so it can't explode during the production process. It's got to work and not screw up the Keurig machine or whatever at the end, and then it's got to compost at the end. So I think it's a way more complicated process from sort of beginning to end than a lot of people realize.
Oh yeah, very. I mean, like, our machines are highly customized. You put our machine or using our compostable technology next to a regular single serve dosing line that a regular plastic K-cup would have. It's totally different. Our materials, we've done rigorous tests. We've been doing this for 6 years to really get it right. And this is probably the hardest format to nail, Martin, is the single serve pod. So, we've really done a great job in minimizing the issues we're going to have on a station per station basis, because the materials are not as rigid as plastic, and create issues. So, but we're at that point now where we're about to show some scale here, and we're very happy with how the technology is playing out, and we'll be able to roll that into other avenues later.
Right.
And again, the solution: plant-based, fully compostable, no compromise. We're backed by science. We've done ecotoxicity studies, we've done compostability studies. This is what's different about what we've done than some of our other competitors. A lot of guys hide behind BPI certification, but just because you have BPI doesn't mean that a municipal compost is going to accept you. There's a lot of plastic or compostable forks and knives that are all BPI certified, but they're not being accepted at a lot of compost facilities because of the time it takes to break it down. So, we've got the science, we've got the R&D behind it. And like I said, this is probably one of the harder formats to make because of the water pressure and the high heat environment and how quick that happens. Once we show we could scale this, we will look at other product innovation.
Right. And 6 years of R&D. Did the technology originally come out of a university or an academic setting, or where did it come from? And can you remind me how much, like I said millions before, but I can't remember how many millions of like hard dollars or government funding and so forth have been put into this?
Yeah. So look, the technology is ours. We didn't partner with a university to come up with it. We worked with universities after we were granted our first patent, I think, in 2015. We worked with universities to kind of or to make it come to fruition. In terms of how much has been put into it, we've received almost, I think, $5 million in government grants and contributions, as well as our own hard capital that's gone into this.
Right.
Again, just more information on the scientific and commercial validation. Zero toxicity, as I mentioned. We've done studies with UBC. As you can see, soil-containing Nexpod compost had no negative influence on the growth of carrots and onions over a period of 6 weeks, with no evidence of toxicity to the plants. We're not producing any microplastics out of this. And commercial validation. We worked with Terravis, who's actually built a lot of the commercial facilities around the world to make sure that our pod actually breaks down. And in very optimal conditions, our pod broke down in as little as 35 days, which was very surprising to us. But on average, based on, not every compost facility will be state of the art, but as new ones come online here, on average, our pod will break down in 75 days. And now we are working towards BPI. I know there's some questions about BPI certification. We could just answer that now, Martin.
Sure.
Look, all our parts that are part of the capsule are BPI certified. So right now we're actually getting the finished product certified. It's sitting with BPI, and with everything during COVID, it just seems to take forever. But we are working towards our BPI certification, and we should have it soon. Because, like I told you, I mean, for us, the main thing is we know this breaks down in municipal compost. The BPI will just be the icing for some of our potential customers that are looking for it. So we're very confident we're not going to have any issues getting BPI.
What is the base material made of? Is it like a paper product, or you say it's plant-based? What is, like, where does your raw material kind of come from?
We've got partners in Nebraska that give us the raw materials. It's a corn-based bioplastic as well as other materials.
All right.
Some facts about the pod, as I mentioned, compost in little as 35 days. Some of our IP is around our the volume we could get in our cup. We could probably get 13 to 14 grams. In our capsule, there's no adhesive, soy-based ink. If you ever try to take out a plastic capsule that's been brewed, it's pretty hot to when you touch it. Our pod, because of the fiber outside, is cool to the touch. And like I said, with our filtration, we've really nailed superior taste. So it's great to have a compostable pod, but it's even better if the pod tastes amazing. So and that's what we keep hearing. So we're happy with our technology and where we're going with it.
When you say here it's got more volume than what? Like a plastic pod or the other compostable pods, or
both? Both, yeah. Like we're able to get more volume than the other compostable pod that's out there. So it's a soft bottom pod, but for some of the artisanal roasters, they want a really strong cup of coffee. We're able to get definitely get more volume than your regular K cup.
Okay.
Yeah. This is our monetization strategy. As you've seen, we've done some market testing with Zoma Superfoods and Nexe Coffee. The purpose of these brands, as well as to generate revenue, is, we've done a lot of market testing through our website, as well as doing some beta groups or focus groups, sorry. What we're able to do is figure out what we got to change with our pod. We didn't want to, we were able to get really good feedback from customers as well as potential co-packers, and we've made those adjustments. So, that's one thing we wanted to do, is make sure that when we're ready and we're able to do some of these co-packing agreements, we wanted to make sure that we learned on our pod and our finished product. And that's why, having Nexe Coffee up and Zoma Superfoods up, we're able to ship it as far as the Yukon or down to Florida. And, we were able to get feedback on some of those shipments, and make sure our team's ready for when we're able to land some of these co-packing agreements, probably in 23. So, and then going into 24, we'll look at other opportunities, as I mentioned, IP transferability to other product innovation. I think what we've learned on this pod and how it works at high speed, we'll be able to transfer that to other opportunities. We get lots of calls, but to look at other things like coffee creamers and such. But our focus really is nailing and scaling the coffee pod business first.
Yeah. So the basic strategy is you're launching your own branded coffee and your flavored hot drink solutions. A, you get to build your own brand, but B, if there are any, you don't want to screw up something for a big global brand, like, oh, we just learned something on the production line, or maybe you can't go as fast as you can. So you're working out all the bugs on your own branded stuff. And once you feel 100% like we got this completely down, that's when you're going to feel comfortable, and probably they're going to feel more comfortable as well to do a co-packing, private label kind of situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, these companies, they take years to build their brand, and, we're definitely picking, we're picking and choosing who we want to work with, but, we're not here to ruin any of their brand work that they've done over the last few years to get it right. So, for us, launching our own in-house brands to get some feedback, as well as kind of launch into Amazon over the next while, as well as get going on retail probably in Q2. I think that's really where we want to go. Is, we wanted to make sure all our packaging is done right. We're not going to compromise. We're not going to do what other companies do, where they have a compostable pod, but it's individually wrapped in plastic. It kind of defeats the whole purpose. So, we're definitely sticking to our sustainability movement. Obviously, most of our boxes are recyclable, but our barrier has to be compostable as well. So let's learn that on our pods, so we don't destroy other brands. We've seen other brands, or we've seen other competitors launch some well-known brands, or co-pack for some well-known brands, and those relationships have been destroyed. And a lot of those big brands have gone back to K-Cup, or the regular recyclable K-Cup. So, what we're doing, K-Cups or the single serve pods is the start, but we're not here to have people kind of switch between compostability and recyclability. So, when we do something, we want to make sure we're not out there destroying any brand value for some of our co-packing partners when we're ready.
And with your co-packing partners, before they slap like it's compostable on the thing, they want to make sure they've got a reliable, good supply, that they know they're going to get it, and it's not going to blow up on them, because they're investing their brand and marketing dollars and all sorts of stuff in there. So they're very risk averse on that, right?
Absolutely. And that's why, a lot of them, they want to make sure we could scale it. I mean, it's great to commercialize and make a product, but they want to see this thing running at scale. So they're comfortable going into, using their massive distribution channels to push our product, and not feel that, oh man, are these guys actually going to be able to make 50 million capsules? So, that's where we're headed this year, is just getting that scale all in-house. We've had delays with the supply chain issues with COVID, but we're working right now to mitigate some of that risk for the future.
Just on this slide, you've got 2022 and 2023. You've got a May year end. So is this like fiscal 22?
No, this is calendar.
We're talking calendar here. Okay, I just wanted to make sure so that everyone's expectations are on the right page there. All right.
Absolutely.
And all right.
So these are some of our products. I'm a big medium roast guy. I think our K-Cup medium roast is probably one of the best coffee cups you could drink. I'm at that stage now where I actually take it on the road with me, because some of the coffee at hotels is just not that great. So, what we've been able to do is launch 6 SKUs on the coffee side. And, we've made some changes with some of the feedback we've gotten. The cool thing about what we've done with some of these launches is, we've had a lot of potential co-packers buy our coffee, and they've tasted it, and they're really impressed by it. So, I think we've used it as a marketing tool for guys to come and try our coffee, and they'll come check out our facility when we're ready here the next while. Sorry about that. We'll check out our facility or they'll come check out our facility when they're ready in the next little while, and or when we're ready, not they're ready. And, I think, we'll be able to create some great relationships. I mean, we've gotten some great feedback from a lot of these groups, co-packers as well as customers. So no, we're very happy with our product and where it's going through our beta testing programs.
Well, I get that makes a ton of sense that you would launch it with sort of a premium coffee in there. If you threw a cheap coffee in there, it would just sort of soil the whole brand. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, like, even for us, we're going to be very picky who we work with. We want to work with brands that are aligned with what we're doing. We want to make premium coffee, so we're going to work with some of these more artisanal roasters than real big brands. And I think that's where the market's going anyway.
Yep. All right.
Zoma Superfoods, this has been interesting. We just launched into retail with our Zoma Superfoods line after getting a lot of good feedback. We were able to make some adjustments on our capsule, as well as on our recipe for some of these pods. So we are now retail ready for Zoma Superfoods.
And when you say you're retail ready, do you have it on the shelves at this point, or you're ready to start shipping on to the shelves?
I think in January we launched in London Drugs, and on Walmart.ca. I think we just launched. I think they finally went live last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So we'll be pushing that into the US and Canada as well. And as I keep mentioning here, what we've learned on the pod, we'll be able to do other innovation opportunities. So, this is the pod is once we show we can scale it, it's a big deal for us, because what we've learned on that pod, we'll be able to do other technologies a lot quicker, or other product innovation a lot quicker.
And so these would all be like a recyclable food jar, meat trays, eyeglass frames, and so forth. That
compostable.
Yeah, or sorry, compostable.
Correct.
And so you really do have a platform technology. It's not just limited to the pod line of business. Absolutely.
And that's really the part of our vertical integration. By making all the compostable components in-house, we'll be able to, that's really why that's why we're really confident on where we're going with product innovation. Being able to do a lot of the assembly of the components in-house going forward, I think is going to be a big driver for our business on not just coffee, but everything we do.
Yeah. And so you talk about additional licensing opportunities. So do you see yourselves getting into the food jar manufacturing business, or you would license that out to already someone who does that with traditional plastics, who molding facilities, and just license them out the tech?
I think what we've done with coffee, with actually wanting to manufacture everything, I think for now we're comfortable with coffee, but yeah, we'll look to partner with others.
Okay.
On other opportunities. Yeah.
So that would be a lower capital expense. They get to buy the machinery and so forth. You guys don't have to.
Absolutely.
Do that.
Yeah.
All right. And sorry, is this like additional licensing opportunities? Is that a 2022 thing, a 2023, or is that something beyond in sort of broad guidance?
I'd probably say it's beyond. What we really got to show over where the market is now, we got to show execution, and we really got to show execution on coffee, and that's where majority of the focus is going. But I tell you, with some of the people we've brought in, with some of where we're going with vertical integration, we're learning a lot about other form factors when we're ready. So, I'd love to say, hey, we're going to do it next year, but we're going to take a methodical approach to make sure that we nail in scale coffee.
Right. Oh.
Next slide.
There we go.
This is just some of our marketing strategies. Like I said, we've launched nexecoffee.com and zomasuperfoods.com, and we're doing Google ads on both of those, and getting going on some of the media after we've collected some of the data. But our goal is to get into retail, and we've finalized, after all the data we've collected, we finalized our retail ready packaging for Zoma Superfoods, and are right now in the final processes of nailing Nexe Coffee for retail distribution into grocery.
Have you figured out on the pricing? Like how is the Nexe Coffee going to be priced relative to other brands? Will it be at the premium, I don't know, the Starbucks or that kind of a level, whatever you want to call the premium one to be, or are you going to be higher than that because you are the great coffee plus compost?
Well, it's funny. There's a lot of new artisanal brands, like you see a Death Wish coffee or a Black Rifle coffee. These guys are pricing their pods at $1.10 plus US. I don't think we'll be that high, but we'll probably be around that dollar range when we're ready to really push the retail side. So we want to, look, we want to price it where we're premium, but we also want to price it where we don't become a conflict for some of the co-packers that are the potential co-packers we are in active discussions with.
And what you're saying by that is you can't sort of massively underprice them and make them look expensive.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And when you sell it to a co-packer, or let's say compared to buying plastic K-cups, how much, I presume you're a more expensive solution. Can you give us a bit of like, are you 20% more expensive, or can you give us, and I'm assuming it's more expensive, any sort of orders of magnitude on how the cost of yours versus others?
You know what? Right now we're probably 15 to 20% more expensive, but keep in mind the cost of plastic has gone up over the last few years dramatically. So we're probably on the lower end of that 15 to 20. But as we really kick into innovation later down the road and get this whole vertical integration strategy down, I think our costs will come down substantially. And here, this is our approach. This is, what we've been doing for the last 6 years to make sure everything's done right. Is, this is where getting feedback from customers and potential partners has been key for us to validate these products and make sure that one, they are compostable, but they taste great as well.
All right.
Again, the vertical integration strategy really kicked off during COVID for us. We've had obviously delays on our machine, which is well known out there, like everyone else. But we realized we want to make this a true made in North America solution. Right now, we take our resin and we do our recipe development, and we're shipping it out to a third party overseas to actually make the finished product or finished components of the capsule. Where we're going is we're going to start making the finish or the all the components in house as much as we can. So I think that's going to be a big driver of our IP. It's going to help improve. It's going to help improve margins, obviously, reduce supply chain risk, and as well as improve quality. This is something that we take seriously. And I think if we want to be a real disruptive technology, the more of this we can do in-house, the better. I mean, right now, I think with some of the technology and everything we're doing, I mean, a lot of our partners are kind of learning on our dime. It's not like they're experts in any way. And, in reality, with some of the partnerships we've created out in Ontario, as well as the universities, I mean, we probably know more about how these materials work at high speed for our single serve pod formats than anybody else does. So, it just makes more sense to control the process as much as we can and do as much of it as we can in-house. Our espresso premium pods for an espresso, those are actually that component of the actual capsules made in-house right now. And that's where we want to go with our K-Cup over time.
So currently the molding of the cup itself, that's done by a third party, a professional sort of molding company. Correct. And they ship it to you?
Correct.
And then what you're doing right now is filling the product. You get the cup and then you put the coffee in it and slap the lid on it.
Yeah, the lid as well as the filter. We assemble it along our line, but like I said, we want to get to the point where we're actually manufacturing the components in-house. Hence the move to or the acquisition of Windsor for scale, as well as getting that vertical integration strategy in full gear.
All right.
again, I've talked about this many times. We're leveraging IP to create new innovations. We've got a two-pronged approach. We work with a IP firm out of Vermont who's been amazing to work with. We focus on the not just on the materials technology, but also on the automation. A lot of our, we've got a lot of trade secrets, as well as secrets on our recipe development. But even along the line, like I told you, it's there's a lot of customization to what we've done, and we have a lot of trade secrets and IP our applications in along our automation process. So again, once we nail what we've learned from coffee and we show we could scale it, I think which we're going to have all in place by hopefully by the end of this year. Actually, no, we will do it this year, and I think we'll be able to take that into other innovation. And really, once we show we could scale this, and I think our IP becomes way more valuable than the way the market perceives it right now. Next, facilities. Martin mentioned, he's been to our facility out in Surrey. We just secured a facility in Windsor. I could tell you they're very, very excited about us joining there. I think we're going to be able to hire the skilled employees that we need to do a lot of that vertical integration and show the scale that we need to on the coffee side. We're going to be able to do that a lot quicker than how we've been moving in BC here. We have it's amazing the reception we've gotten out of Windsor since making that announcement last week. So we're very excited to be in Windsor. And in reality, a lot of our manufacturing partners are in Ontario, so being closer to them is going to help us move this business a lot quicker.
And the Windsor facility, is that already does it have like manufacturing equipment, like plastic machinery in that, or are you buying a building and now you've got to populate it with all the required equipment and so forth?
Yeah, we just purchased the building. It used to be an old it used to be a company called JD Norman, I believe. I think they did parts for the automotive industry. So no, we've removed all their stuff, or a lot of their stuff was removed as part of their restructuring. So no, most of our new key equipment that we're bringing in to show scale will be housed in Ontario as we build out our workforce there.
And is Surrey going to be more of the R&D small scale stuff, and then the big production scale will be out of Windsor?
Yeah, we'll continue to do finished product in BC, as well as we've got a full machining shop here in BC. We'll continue to, that's the one interesting thing that we're able to do. Like, when we need to make changes, we're able to do it very quickly. We're not waiting on a tool and die partner to get that done. So that'll continue to happen in BC, as well as we'll continue to do a lot of design. We've got a really good design team and a really good R&D team here, so we'll definitely be adding more to our R&D team out in Ontario, given that there's more skilled labor there. But no, we're happy with what we with the team we have here, and we'll continue some of those jobs in Vancouver, or Surrey.
All right.
Yeah, so this is the team, myself, Darren, Mark Holman, who brings a vast of experience given his time at Coca-Cola, as well as Nestle, among other companies. We have experts in automation and marketing, and Zach's been a great help for us on the just validating what we're doing. But now that we've got some of the infrastructure in place, and we'll have majority of the infrastructure in place by the end of the year, we're going to start hiring, making some key hires on the sales and marketing side. Our board, again, Darren, myself, Haitham Hodele, who's spent a lot of time, or is a VP over at a streaming company. So if we ever look at, he brings some good expertise if we ever look at the licensing model, and obviously it's a very successful company. Graham and Killian bring a lot of experience as I think our lead independent director on the governance side is Graham, and then Killian being a CA and running his own firm, he brings a lot of experience on the just making sure that the back end is ready.
All right.
Some of our collaborations and partnerships from the past, we've worked with all levels of government. as well as some of the awards we've received. And, the beauty is with everything we do, there's always opportunities for non-dilutive capital. I could tell you the government's been extremely supportive of what we're doing, and they'll continue to be extremely supportive. That's our cap table. Look, we're fully funded for everything we need to do. I don't see us going back to the market anytime soon. This last year was a successful year with our listing, our financings, launching products. This year's all about executing on getting that infrastructure in place so we could scale it and then selling it. We got, like I mentioned, we do have a lot of potential partnerships in place, but we need to get that scale going, hence why Windsor is very important to our strategy.
And when you say you've got sufficient capital, and that's the capital to build out your Windsor facility to buy the equipment that's required there?
Absolutely.
All right. And there we go. All right, we have a lot of questions. We've got a hard stop in 20 minutes here. So I'm going to first hit some questions that were had been emailed to us. So someone was asking about any like some detailed guidance. Are you guys providing any guidance at this point with the growth of the business?
No, not right now. It's more of a function. We don't really control a lot of things. We've had delays in getting some of our equipment out. I think really, like I mentioned, you will start seeing some traction on the sales side, and specifically, later in this year, second half of the year. But it's just getting everything ready. I mean, everything is delayed, not just for us, but for everybody. Everything is taking time right now. Whether you're trying to list on Amazon, whether you're trying to get your packaging lines for your boxes, everything has long delays. So, I think we made a prudent decision. We're not at that stage where we want to start providing guidance until all this stuff is in place and the world doesn't have all these supply chain issues.
Right. I think we addressed it, but there is a question here on BPI certification for both K-Cups and espresso pods. That's imminent, essentially, I think you were saying?
Yeah. So, especially on our K-Cup, because, we were using third-party manufacturers, a lot of our materials and parts and components that are used in the capsule are already BPI certified. So all we have to do, or what we've done, is we've sent it all into the Ontario office with our finished product, and we're just waiting for them to give us that final check mark. So timing of that, not sure, but it should be soon, because they've had it for quite some time now.
All right. Question here regarding some of your quarterly financials. You've announced both the launch of Zoma and Nexe, the Nexe coffee products, but in the first two financial quarterly statements of your fiscal 2022 year, which ends in May, let's say your November ones, there were no revenues there on that. Could you explain how the revenues or what's going on with the launch of the sales and revenues?
Sure. So look, what we've done over the last 2 quarters, and maybe that's my fault for not communicating well, but we've done a lot of market testing. So, where people are able to get our pods, the only spot is our own websites, which is Nexe Coffee and Zoma Superfoods till recently. So, we use the first couple quarters, especially on Zoma, and we just finished up on Nexe Coffee, is to really do market testing, beta testing, make sure our team is ready, see how this pod works in logistics, whether you're sending it to the Yukon or to Florida, and get feedback. And we were able to do that, and now over the next while we'll be retail ready on Nexe Coffee, and we're working towards and we are now going to be getting into distribution on Zoma. So yeah, going forward, I think next quarter onwards here, you will see sales.
And we were talking about this before the webinar. You are getting small amounts of revenues off that, but it doesn't show up as revenues. It's sort of because it's kind of R&D revenues. It's just offsetting some of your expenses.
It's offsetting some of our costs. So I mean, the way we were set up is it was more for market testing, and going forward, you'll definitely see revenue.
Gotcha. And you guys talk about being K-Cup fully compatible, but is it compatible, or why is it not compatible with the Keurig Supreme or the Keurig Supreme Plus systems?
Yeah, so I did see that question. So, what Keurig did was they added 5 puncture zones on those capsules versus 3 on all those other machines. So it was tearing our capsule. We've been working with our supplier to come up with a solution for that. Paper is way different than the plastic aligned tin cap or the lidding that your plastic capsule uses. But look, where we're at right now, we've done a lot of preliminary testing with that new material, that new lidding material, and we should be back up and running on Supreme and Supreme Plus shortly.
All right. You did previously discuss producing COVID masks or masks, compostable masks, as we see them lying on the ground everywhere. What happened there?
Yeah, so look, we were approached by a well-known hospital to look at opportunities in the compostable mask space. We've had prototypes. The only problem with compostable masks, and you could see it with some of the other companies that are out there, is nothing's really readily available. Having a fully compostable ear ring as well as a fully compostable nose piece, they're not available at scale. So it is something that we will revisit if the market's still there, if we're still going through this pandemic. But in reality, we've done our homework, but based on the parameters that we need for barrier and everything else, as well as sticking to our premise of being fully compostable, a lot of the materials are not available at scale yet, and that's why you've seen other companies stall with their compostable mask initiatives as well.
So basically, you can do 80% compostable, but that makes no sense. If the rest of it can't be compostable, what's the point?
It's never made sense to me, and it never will. So no, if it's not fully compostable, what's the point? And in reality, we've got a lot of work to do, and we've been lucky. We have supportive shareholders who've given us significant capital and make sure we could become disruptive in coffee and everything else. So our focus really is to get coffee scaled this year. So that's what we're going to do. That's the mandate we've been given, and that's mission number 1.
All right. So we're going to hit the Q&A here. We have 34 Qs in the list, and we've got 15 minutes left here. So we'll try to power through them as fast as possible. If we don't hit them, apologies. Maybe shoot off some emails, and we'll try to address them in another manner. So right to it here. What percentage of total costs are raw materials? Are any input costs increasing in price much?
Well, look, with inflation, everything's increasing. But like I said, our focus really is going to be on making sure. Our focus is really going to be on making sure that we can control those costs, and the best way to do it is through being vertically integrated. So, yeah, I hope that kind of answers what you're looking for. But no, I mean, inflation's kicking everybody's butt. Coffee costs are going up. A lot of the costs for the materials are going up, but as we head towards vertical integration, I think we'll be able to better control our costs.
Gotcha. Question about what's next after the coffee pods. You're not going to, are you going to mention you're going to do jars next or whatever? Or is that just beyond, like it's a couple years away? So well, not sure.
We do mess around with certain things. We've played with a lot of things, but like I said, we want to make sure that we nail coffee before we do anything else. All
right. Has Nexe achieved SQFL certification for automation production lines?
Yeah, we're working on that. We hired somebody late last year to join the team to really get that whole process going and nailed. Like I said, I think probability is we'll obviously we're going to get our Vancouver location SQFL certified, as well as what we have in Ontario.
All right. How competitive do you think you are in the marketplace?
How competitive do we think we are in the marketplace? Very. I mean, I could tell you, the people we want to partner with, there's a reason why they're coming to us. We're not doing any outbound calls here. I mean, that's been the beauty of doing a lot of that market testing, is allowing people, a lot of these customers, to buy our capsule. And, the feedback we're getting from them is, there's a lot of artisanal coffee roasters that need to be in the single serve space because it still continues to grow. The reason they haven't been there is because they don't. There's not a lot of good options, and I think we are going to be the best option going for them, and that's why we need to do this right. We need to be a little bit patient. We don't want to. With some of the brands we're working with, some of the brands I'm very excited about. But like I said, we don't want to go ruin their reputation because we did a shitty job at, a bad job at rushing the process. We don't want to do that.
Would it be fair to guess that the evolution of your co-packing partners or your private label partners is you'll figure out the next branded stuff, then you'll maybe partner with a smaller volume artisanal roasters, and you'll kind of gradually get bigger before you do a Tim Hortons or something like that? Or once you figure out your stuff, you're just swing for the fences with one of the big brands?
I want to be careful how I say it. I like having having more customers than just one big one. In this industry, I've seen brands. I've seen other manufacturers launch with a huge brand like a Tim Hortons, and they've lost a lot of market share when a Tim Hortons decides to it's more about the bottom line and go to a Keurig. So I'd rather have more customers than one big customer. And you know what, I could tell you, every customer we talk to are large brands that are not in the single serve space. So what we're doing, I think, is different. Is we're bringing a lot of new entrants into the space. And I don't want to say, I don't think Tim Hortons and Nexe will be a good fit. I think our philosophies on business are different, but there are a lot of big brands, especially in the States, that we're excited to work with. So
great. Yes, some other questions here on big branding, which I think we've covered. Could you please, when you're getting attention from coffee roasters, how many roasters, what sort of volumes? Have you signed NDAs? I guess that's all the...
Yeah, no, we've signed NDAs with some small premium ones, small batch roasters, all the way to some larger, well-known brands in North America. So no, we sign NDAs with everyone, whether it's vendors, potential coffee customers. We always sign NDAs because we're being very careful with our IP. Even when we have visitors to our site, everyone signs an NDA.
All right. Question here on this deck. Will this deck be available on your website, or can we email this out after the webinar?
Yeah, it'll be available on our website. You could. I don't want to flood your email, Martin, but you can reach out to Martin to get a copy of the deck.
I'll put when I send out my newsletter on the weekend, I'll put a link at the bottom of it next to your video that I post onto YouTube with the link to the presentation. So,
actually, Martin, I want to answer one question here that I see about
sure.
How flexible is your manufacturing with respect to quality of your raw materials? That this is the reason why we're going towards vertical integration. We want to control the quality of those raw materials, or of how those raw materials are blended together. So that's very important to our process. And our manufacturing process is going to be very flexible to future innovation. As we head towards vertical integration, I think you will, no different than the iPhone 1, 2, 3, all the way to wherever we are, 24. You will see some innovation with what we're doing. And like I said, I want to make Nexe a made in North America solution. I don't want to, I definitely want to push jobs in Canada and the US. I want to work with vendors and materials companies that could provide us a lot of our supply, all in Canada. The US would be phenomenal, and that's where we really want to go.
And I'm from the sounds of that, you're getting some of your materials offshore?
Well, we're getting some of our finished product from offshore, yes.
All right.
But a lot of that material is available right in our backyard. So that's where we want to go with the future, is have a full made in North America solution.
All right. Do you need a mechanical engineering intern to help plan the new factory? I really like what you're doing. Someone's looking for a job here. So
we will. No, look, we're excited to be in Windsor. Sounds like this person's in Windsor. We'll definitely look out for his resume. So if you could just email our team. No, look, this is why we're excited to move to Windsor. We need skilled labor, and it's abundant there. A lot of our automation partners are there. But the beauty is, the city is very excited to get away, or not get away, but diversify from just the automotive industry. It's it's been amazing, the support and just how happy or excited people are to get us in Windsor. So we're excited to be there. So yeah, no, definitely that person could email our team, and I'm sure we'll take a look.
Well, I just sent you guys an email connecting you, so you're off to the races here. We kind of dealt with this. Do you plan on making raw material in-house? Are you ever going to make the bioplastic yourself, or is that always going to come from a third party?
No, we've got good partners. I mean, they're good at what they do. I mean, let them keep doing what they're doing. I mean, they're well-known partners. So yeah.
So you would buy you'd continue buying the resin. It's just from the little resin pellets or whatever. Yep. You would take it from that point on.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, we've talked about the mask. Someone asking about biodegradability and time. I think we've dealt with that. How many employees do you guys have? How big is the company?
In Vancouver, I think we got close to 20. Definitely going to be growing that out in Ontario. The plan would be to get that place running, so it's running on 2 shifts, 7 days a week. So we definitely going to be needing to hire a lot of people as we get a lot of the equipment, or the key equipment, to scale it in-house.
Roughly how many would that be to be at the first level of production? Another 20 or?
Probably another 20, yeah. And I can tell you, I don't think we're going to have a problem hiring there, because there seems to be a lot of interest.
Yeah. All right. And I'm guessing you bought this bigger facility because you're starting off. You're going to be taking up a small portion of the square footage, which your initial, and then as you ramp up, bring more production in house, the size of the facility is big enough to house all that.
Absolutely. I think we're good for a while.
All right. Someone asking, do you have any negative feedback? Is there any downsides to your system?
Well, that's why we did this whole market testing. Is I'd call it constructive feedback, and we've made changes based on that, right? And that's why I say it's very important the way we've methodically approached this. We didn't want to go. We're not in the business of ruining other people's brands. So let's test our pods, ship it to the Yukon, ship it to Florida, and see what kind of feedback we get when that pod arrives. So we did have some constructive feedback, and it's helped us better the pod. So no, that's why we're about retail ready on Nexe Innovations, and you'll start seeing that in retail shortly.
And if I just took your pods, gave them to a friend who didn't know they're compostable, didn't care about that, and they just started using them, they wouldn't notice any difference. It's just the same thing. Maybe the feel looks a little different or whatever, but you drop it in, you get your coffee, you pick it up, you either chuck it in the garbage can or the compost.
Yeah, we hope he chucks it in the compost.
Yeah.
It has a fibrous outside, so there's no mistaking it's different than your regular plastic K-Cup.
But there's no change in the consumer's process. You drop it in, you take it out. Nothing. They don't have to do anything different.
No. The whole thing with, you got to remember, the whole thing with the K-Cup machine was convenience.
Yeah.
So when they did this thing, it was put the pod in, go do what you got to do, come back, and your coffee is brewed, and then you throw it in the garbage. Then because it got way bigger than they thought. then, came up with the alternative to, waste management, which was recycling. Well, recycling is not convenient. I mean, you recycle, 2-3 pods, you're not going to do it again because it's a lot of time. So, what we've done is we've bought convenience back in a very environmentally friendly way. So we're excited what we're doing. And I honestly believe once we show we could scale this here, we're going to become a disruptive force for single serve, as well as just another plastic alternative that's out there for other packaging needs later down the road.
There's a question here on co-packing where I think someone just doesn't quite understand the term.
Sure.
What co-packing is what? Just lay out the structure of what that means. The
co-packing is essentially if Starbucks calls me and says, "Hey, we want you to package their beans in our pods and ship it out the door." So they would send us their beans. We would grind or roast it. Well, if they want us to roast it, we have roasting capabilities, but we'd roast it, grind it, send it down our dosing sealing line with our proprietary pods, and send it out to their distribution.
And they would pay you then for each cup shipped out, they would pay you so many cents or dollars or whatever, and that's the agreement.
Absolutely.
There.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent.
Maybe let's take one more because we're at 10:30 here.
Yeah. There's a question here. Can you change the color of the pod or print anything on it?
Yeah, we could print on it using soy base. Can we change the color? Yeah, but right now it's very expensive. But like I said, when we have the next pod 2.0, 3.0, I think that's some of the stuff we've been thinking about for that next iteration once we're out there. But today we can, but it becomes an extremely expensive pod.
Can I ask one last question here from, we got one here?
Sure.
How can you talk about product? How much can your Surrey facility produce before you have to kind of move out to your Windsor? How many millions of dollars can you produce out of your existing facility?
Well, I think, the way we're setting it up, we'd have probably, right now the 2 lines that we have the ability, one's there. Right now, we have capacity to 70, or we're working towards capacity of 70. But when it's set up, we'll have 2 lines there that have the capacity to do 50 million pods annually each. So, you times that.
100 million in total?
Well, that would be if we were doing it all. If we were doing everything as an in-house brand, yeah. But obviously, we want to give a good chunk of that as a co-packing agreement, which could be half or just above half that number.
Yeah, but and just so that's 50 million pods. You're talking units, not dollar value, correct?
50 million pods each line. So if we put 2 lines there, we should over time optimize it so we could do 100 million pods out of Vancouver and everything else out of Ontario.
And if you're selling your own pods with your own coffee in there, that has a higher dollar value per unit as if you're co-packing and they're supplying you the coffee. That would be less revenues per pod as opposed to doing it your own product per pod, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. But it'll just fill it a lot quicker. So
yeah.
So that's why we're not doing anything different than Keurig or Nespresso did, or Nestle did, right? Keurig, a lot of it they started out with their own brands, and then then they were able to partner with brands because they could eat a little margin through their own in-house brands. So, and same with Nestle. Nestle did a phenomenal job over the last how many ever years it's been, and they just finally launched their first brand, which is helping them in North America, which is Starbucks, right? Europeans aren't as fussy as big brands as North Americans are. So, I think their co-packing agreement with Starbucks has been good for them to get that exposure in North America, where it's predominantly K-Cup.
Great, Ash. I think you've got to run now,
Yep.
and we got to wrap this up.
Yeah. No. Thanks. Thanks for your time. And no, let's do this again, Martin. As I mentioned, maybe next time I'll do it from the facility.
That would be great. I'd love to do that. To go visit, and I can be a real blogger and vlogger. And at that point, I'll walk around with the camera. It'd be cool. All right. Thanks, Ash. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, thank you.